Hello, everyone. Happy Thursday. Thank you so much for joining us. Almost half of children with active moms grow up to be physically active themselves, shaping their lifelong health in ways we can't always see. As moms juggling a thousand things, it's easy to put your health on the back burner. And healthy habits you establish now will strengthen your body, nurture your mind, reduce stress, and enhance your emotional resilience. If you're feeling stressed you are not alone. And carving out even a few minutes for movement is one of the most powerful gifts you can give your family. And when you prioritize your well-being post-pregnancy, you are showing your children what self-care looks like and teaching them that health is worth protecting at every stage of life. And your exercise routine is more than just me time. It's a ripple effect of healthy habits for future generations to come. And that's why we're so glad to chat on IG Live today with Ayelet Gottesman, a pre plus postnatal educator. During this live, we're going to discuss the lasting effects active moms have on children, ways to use exercise to help keep the brain sharp, getting back into working out postpartum, and so much more. I saw. Hello, hi, Ayelet.
Thank you so much for facilitating this truly important conversation. And also, thank you for pronouncing my name properly.
So, so English is actually not my first language, and then for name, I have not encountered. I actually don't have a friends named Ayelet, and so I looked it up. I specifically looked it up how to pronounce, so I want to make sure. But even sometimes when I look it up, I don't still say it right. So it's like so nice to hear that you said, okay, you pronounced my name right.
It was like it stood out to me because English is also not my first language, and my name gets butchered. Like I don't think anyone's ever read my name in the right way ever. So pat on the back.
Okay, amazing. Okay, we're having a good start. But
Yeah.
also, thank you so much for taking the time to join us because we haven't really talked about this, linking your mom's healthy habit to their kids, which is like so important. But before we start, tell us a little bit about yourself and then how you became a pre plus postnatal educator.
So my name is Ayelet Gottesman. I am first and foremost a mom of three very rambunctious boys that are very close together. I specialize in I'm a personal trainer, but I specialize in all things women's health. So I specialize in perimenopause, menopause, PCOS, fertility, pelvic floor support and rehab, prenatal, postpartum, corrective exercise. I like to move it, but to use it all as a holistic approach and treat. I never use like one modality. I often mix it all. And I came into the space after my own experience becoming a mother. It made me realize how underserved our women are during this chapter of our lives. We get so much care before. We're the center of attention before while we're incubating. And then the second the baby is gone, which is like the most humongous surge of decrease in hormones shift we ever get. All of a sudden, everyone's MIA. Our bodies are doing all sorts of crazy things, and there's no handbook. So that's pretty much what kind of led me into this space.
Amazing. So do you think your own experience have made you a better educator?
Oh my gosh, 100%. I mean, first of all, lived experience creates empathy. Being in the situation where, out of nowhere, your energy just, you're fatigued and your energy just dips, makes you ask all these questions, random hip pain, you're starting to look into things from a different perspective because no one's doing it for you. So you actually learn to navigate recovery, prolapse symptoms, breastfeeding challenges, just through your own lived experience. And then, I obviously had to dig into the research because no one else was doing it for me and, create something that's science backed and also real world applicable.
That's so true. I feel like a lot of guidance people get is not until you become really sick. And then for some of the problem pre or postnatal, it seems like it's there, but it's not a life threatening. So there's no guidance. But if you add up all the small things that you're experiencing, it's literally it's drain and dragging it, and
Totally.
it's annoying.
Totally. I mean, I have a client who's in her 70s. She had twins. I always tell the story. She had twins in her 20s, and she didn't have any other kids after that because she had twins, and that's a huge strain on the pelvic floor. And she felt like her quality of life, she couldn't engage with her kids. She couldn't get in the garden and play with them because she was leaking. Fast forward 50 years, we meet, and incontinence is usually something that's not, it doesn't take so long to recover. For her, it took about 4 weeks of like straight work. And she like looked at me and just cried, was like, what do you mean? I would have had more kids if I had known this is like, forget even women's health. It's like changed the whole trajectory of her entire life, and also like improper posture and not building muscle and all that during these years. Like when you get to perimenopause and you slip and fall and you break your hip, that's life threatening. So it is even life threatening for us to be in and like really recover and truly fix our bodies up.
That's so true. So talking about pelvic floor, like why do you focus so heavily on pelvic floor support?
Well, first of all, I might shock you here, but men also have a pelvic floor. Usually when I say that, people are like, people don't know what the pelvic floor is, but the pelvic floor is literally the foundation of almost everything, not just in women's health, also men's. Movement, breath, core stability. Our whole bodies are stacked. It depends, like pelvic floor dysfunction isn't just about leaking. It can also show up as low back pain, core weakness, hip pain, postural changes, and so a symptom that a lot of people don't even realize, anxiety. When your ribs are either locked in a flare and you're not getting like full dynamic breathing in your ribs, like your breath gets stuck in your chest. That's like literally anxiety inducing. You get anxiety from not getting proper breath. So yeah, and yet most women don't get proactive with guidance. They're just told do Kegels, wait until something's wrong, and then if something's wrong, we'll fix it, like you said earlier. So I believe in educating early and treating before something happens.
That is so true. That is so true. So today we're focusing on like moms taking care of themselves during and after pregnancy. So how beneficial is it for a mother to exercise during pregnancy?
It's one of the best things that you could do, not just for your own mental health, like also for mental resilience, for birth preparation to help ease recovery. Exercise during pregnancy, they say even like 30 minutes of like light cardio, let's say even, it supports circulation, reduces the risk of gestational diabetes, improves fetal development, can even lead to shorter birth times and smoother postpartum recovery. And it can improve baby's birth weight. They even say there was a study that was done that checked kids 4 years after they were born at the age of 4, and the moms that had exercised during pregnancy, the 4-year-olds were tended to have a higher IQ than those of the kids who hadn't, which is
That's
truly
amazing.
insane. Yeah, it's really
Yeah.
truly insane.
Wow. So you've also mentioned finding creatine useful for some mothers while in coordination with their healthcare provider. Why is that?
So first of all, if anyone has renal disease in the family, they should definitely speak with their doctors first before taking creatine. But I actually stumbled upon the research while Googling my own symptoms. I was pregnant with my third, and I was having hot flashes during the pregnancy that were like just very stressful. I couldn't go anywhere. So I decided to look into it. I stumbled upon a podcast from somebody in the UK who was talking about the podcast is about perimenopause, and then how perimenopause and menopause using creatine can also translate to breastfeeding, because breastfeeding, the symptoms are mimicked. So the research totally blew my mind. First of all, it's one of the most researched and safe supplements out there. We have creatine in our body, and it can help support muscle preservation, mental clarity, cellular energy, sleep deprivation, brain fog, night sweats, physical and fatigue stress. And for the baby gets similar benefits as the baby does from exercising in utero. As moms exercising, this was inconclusive. They're looking into it. It could potentially help fix any heart problems that a baby has in utero, and it could help get more oxygen through the placenta to the baby. So it means better birth weight, lower risk of preterm labor, born with more ability to put on lean muscle mass, and better birth weights, which are pretty solid.
Wow. Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah, I know it's cutting edge technology in our sphere.
Amazing, amazing. So, you also mentioned like, the pretty like interesting stats, like mom exercise and then like their kids will have better IQ. And then there's this obviously this mom and child connection. And you also had this very powerful post that that compelled us to reach out to you. And then you shared the quote that you say you would die for them, but what are you doing in order to live for them? I love it. I love it. Like what prompted this question? And then what does it mean to you?
It's actually a little bit emotional for me, this question, because like when I had my first, I was doing everything solo. Like my husband was around and then he went to work and I didn't have like much family in the area. And I kind of martyred myself. He had a really bad reflux. I had to hold him upright and feed him every 30 minutes, teeny tiny feedings. Like literally, I was like this the whole day, all night. And I remember my husband was like, "You love doing yoga. Like, let me hold him. Go do yoga." And I was just like, how can I leave him? He's in pain, you know? But the truth is, when your tank is empty and you have nothing to give, then what happens? Like, our kids benefit from having a mom that's had 3 to 4 meals a day, that's blood sugar is regulated when they walk in through the door. So we can help them when they're dysregulated and they're having their tantrums without having one of our own. Like, our kids benefit from a mom who is mentally stable, but also able to, I have voice. They don't always use language. Sometimes it's physical. Sometimes they have a hard day and they just need to kick a soccer ball, or for me to take them and like throw them on the couch or throw them, like tough it out with them. And then all of a sudden the layers melt away and they're able to talk. But what happens if you can't do that because you're leaking, you have hip pain, you lose that on those moments of connection. And it's not a judgment, it's more an invitation to realign, to look at it and try to change the way we view it, not judge ourselves for what we haven't done or what we continue to not do.
So there's a huge connection between mom's health and their kids. Because if you can't take care of yourself, then you can't take care of them when they get sick.
Yes. Yes.
So like then you also like earlier we mentioned about the exercise. Like why do you believe that science suggests that an active mom is more likely to have children who gets good grades in school, in addition to exercise more?
And it does with exercise. Well, first of all, there are studies that link maternal physical activity to better cognitive development in children, potentially due to increased blood flow, hormonal balance, and neuroprotective benefits during the pregnancy as well as postpartum. But beyond that, when children grow up watching their parents use movement as a normal part of life, they tend to perform better mentally and emotionally. It builds self-discipline, focus, stress resilience, all of which do translate into academic performance because they're able to apply those tools into it.
Yeah. Because some mom actually they feel selfish when they actually take time to work out. But now that hearing there's like, all this benefit, mom should actually take time to work out because the downstream impact on your own like health and on your kids' health and then also mental health too, not just physical,
Yeah.
like enormous.
Yes, it's like, those moments that you have, I hate this term, but it's monster mommy moments, like where you're so depleted. You're like, I worked the whole day. I made lunches, I did the laundry, I cooked dinner, I cleaned up, I baked, da, 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 da. And like like let's say the kids are whining and you're just like, oh my goodness, like, like I personally find that if I've taken time for myself, and that doesn't mean like sitting and scrolling on a couch. It could mean like maybe reading a book, going for a walk. It could mean like training in the gym, and we're super stressed. A lot of my clients, like they come in and they're like fuming and I'm like, okay, we're lifting heavy today. And they're like, yeah, let's do it. And it promotes a sense of calm because there's like that sensory output and input that you get from training. And it really like you're teaching yourself kind of like you're focused on what you're doing. So it's meditative. You can't slip. Like you have to be focused on what you're doing. You're here, you're present. And then it translates. You get the endorphins, you're feeling better, you're feeling more confident, stronger, and like your kids are melting down, and you're like, my cup is full. How can I help you?
Mhm. Amazing, amazing. And then we also briefly touched on, postpartum. So why are you such an advocate for rebuilding muscle memory postpartum?
So, when you break your leg, you're in a cast for like, let's say 8 weeks, and then you have physical therapy. Your part of the physical therapy is like reteaching those muscles to come online because they've been offline in the cast. So after birth, our neuromuscular system has to relearn how to sequence movements efficiently. So rebuilding movement patterns right then and there is the best time. Like we have these automated programs in our brain, like This is my water bottle. I want to drink my water bottle. Like my brain is telling me how to get the water bottle from here to my hands, to my mouth. And when you're postpartum and you're taking a break from doing the things that you used to be doing with potentially bad form, you're able to reteach your body, how to squat with proper alignment, so that you can not only like, there's no bouncing back, in my opinion. You only move forward, and you could be so much stronger postpartum if you take that time to just rehab. You're training for longevity. Those like I don't like 6 weeks postpartum. The 3 month mark, you're starting to learn really true foundational movements. You're set for life.
I also feel like physical therapy is not something that people talk about postpartum either. Like, okay, people, women were just like, okay, you just continue on doing all the stuff you're doing, you're being busy, but no one really talk about, hey, this is a good time to retrain your muscle to build future strength. And then you can even like address some of your previous, bad
Yeah,
postures and everything. Yeah, but
totally.
we never really talk about it.
And a lot of a lot of, for example, like a very common one is rib flare. A lot of that comes from well before. Like we sit in school, we're sitting at a desk, or we're on our computers, or like we're sitting like this, or we're sitting like this. Those are all built in, and they put a lot of pressure on the abdomen. But when you're rehabbing, you're able to say, hey, that's putting too much pressure there. We got to fix that and reset. It's incredibly powerful. I have clients that have had multiple C-sections, and they've never once been told that they should go for pelvic floor rehab. And it's like, what do you mean? That's a very intense surgery. There's like 8 they move your organs out of the way 8 times. Like, how are you not going for rehab after that? It's insane. It's insane. I hope there's going to be a shift in that.
Yeah, I also feel like you get to brought to operating room. You don't actually observe what exactly happens, and sometimes you actually watch how that's done. Like they're shifting your muscles,
Oh,
and
yeah.
then like it's like, and then also like a C-section, giving birth is not talked about because like if you have a stroke, right? If you have a cardiac surgery, that your muscle, your veins being pulled out, and then doing all these things, you
Right.
actually do rehab. And that's actually like I feel like that's actually less shifting than a C-section. Yeah, we don't have
Yes.
any rehab for C-section, but we have rehab for other things.
100%. My father in Canada, he just had a heart attack. The Canadian health system is very different, but he had a heart attack a few years ago. He had like a whole year of
Yeah.
outpatient care. He had therapy, he had OT, and meanwhile, women are giving birth with they don't have any connection to their pelvic floor. They can't feel the scar line. They have horrible pain. And they're just told, here's your baby, go home. You can, and they're trying to figure out how they're gonna nurse or bottle feed their baby so it doesn't chafe on the scar. It's insane. And then they're just
It's
told to get
insane.
up and move. It's crazy.
It's crazy. So how long does it take to rebuild the muscle memory postpartum then?
It does vary, but between 6 to 12 weeks, I want to say most people 12 weeks. It's like with any muscle memory, really, like with any automated, like the neural connection, it takes about 3 months to establish that for it to be automated. But we do have muscle memory, and I do see it coming on. Like a lot of the women that I work with during their pregnancy, they have a much easier time reconnecting with their lower abdominal muscles than those who don't. So, not prevention, but strengthening before the matter is really, really helpful.
Mhm. So when it comes to exercise, whether it's prenatal or postnatal, like what are some exercise you recommend for moms to maintain their mental wellness?
Ooh, I love that. I love that. Walking, the pelvic floor breathing, actually diaphragmatic breathing specifically, stimulates the vagus nerve, so that promotes a sense of like calm. It's also used for COVID patients to rehabilitate their lungs and rebuild their lung capacity. So it has tons of the anti-anxiety benefits. Walking, strength training, whether low impact strength training is, I think, when it literally medicine for pregnancy. It can help you prevent all of those aches and pains and carry better and feel stronger while you're carrying.
Mhm. Why should a mom prioritize chest exercise? And then like what are some things that they can do at home?
I love this question. You did your research. um, Chest is so we tend to see this specific postural deviation a lot in pregnancy and postpartum because mom is rocking baby,
Mm.
feeding baby, and normally when we have tightness in the body, a lot of times we think like mobility when really stability is what was needed. So for the chest specifically, you actually build muscle when the chest is in a lengthened position, like when it's stretched, you get it. So when you're doing a chest press, you're actually able to open up the chest muscle, help restore to support the back and the shoulders, and you're creating a better also breathing, like you have more air to put into your chest and your body. Some things you could do for that. First of all, I'd recommend some thoracic stretches, which is people think like, huh, but chest, but stretching the back and very helpful. And chest presses. There's a tons of movements. I actually post a lot about this on my Instagram. I post a lot of different variations.
Amazing. So with you wearing so many hats and then knowing so much, how can someone work with you?
So I do some virtual. I first of all I service the South Florida area, but I do virtual. They can connect with me on my Instagram page at Move with Better Form, or they could shoot me an email, movewbf@gmail.com. Um, and yeah, I tailor to a ton of different demographics. So whatever your unique body goals are, message me.
Yes, I also want to highlight, even though today we're talking about pre and post natal care and then movement, but I also thought your story was super powerful. That was the 70 years old lady, right? Like even so, you're not only limited to clients that kind of reproductive age, right? So
Yeah.
it's like a wide range of clients you could serve. Because if you're like for like incontinence issue, if the lady is able to fix it even in her like 70s, that's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, and it's shocking that it's something that's so neglected because it's really not a hard thing. Like it's one of the easier symptoms to fix. A lot of it is just reconnecting to the pelvic floor with the breath work, and the incontinence resolves most of the time relatively quick. It's crazy. Also for women specifically, and not just in the childbearing ages, but also perimenopause, like building muscle is medicine. And we have the time when we're in motherhood to kind of like take a step back and be like, wait, I want to plan for my future because it was fun taking care of my kids, but I'm so psyched to also take care of my grandchildren one day, you know? And if you build these habits now, you're setting yourself up for success. It's like time is of the essence.
I love it. I love it. Anything else you'd like to share?
Yeah. Movement is medicine, obviously, and motherhood doesn't have to mean that you're putting yourself last. By putting yourself first, you're actually like, in the airplane when they tell the mom, they say, moms, put on your oxygen mask first. It's truly that. By taking care of yourself, you're showing your kids and modeling them what it means to prioritize themselves, and you're setting them up with success because they don't listen to the things we say, they watch the things that we do. And that's very
Wow. So amazing. So true. Okay, amazing. So thank you so much for sharing your knowledge with us today. And until next time.
yeah, so nice to meet you.
Yeah,
It's
same. Have a good day.
Bye bye.
Bye.